Welcome to another episode of Black Girl Diagnosed. Today we're joined by Jaitesha Hanson, a licensed mental health counselor, educator, and founder of the Alchemist Lab. Through her work, Jai develops neuroaffirming frameworks and educational tools that help clinicians recognize neurodivergent patterns that traditional assessments often overlook. Drawing from her lived experience as a neurodivergent woman, former Division I athlete, and practicing therapist, she is passionate about reducing misdiagnosis, challenging deficient-based thinking, and creating more affirming mental health care for neurodivergent individuals. We're excited to have her with us today to share her expertise and to share her her journey. Thank you for joining me on Black Girl Diagnosed.
I am excited to be here. Whenever I hear people repeat to me like the things I've done in life, I'm like, oh, who's that?
That's
I'm like,
you. That's like it's for me sometimes it's kind of weird. I'm just kind of sitting there like, "Oh, I did do that."
I was like, oh dang, okay.
Awesome. Okay, so let's just get right into things. Many Black women don't receive a diagnosis until adulthood. That was my situation. Why do you think so many Black women are identified later in life? And what roles do masking, code switching, trauma, and cultural expectations play in that?
There is so many places to start. I feel like from lived experience, I can say just the culture of being Black, right? Just go to
Yeah.
church, mental health, emotions, feelings, right? And that's kind of like a generational stigma I think we had, but our later generations are starting to speak up on it more. Then you got to think about we are introduced into a world that we're already told you can't do that. If you do that, that means this, right?
Right.
So we're already code switching by the age of 5. We're already learning, oh, you got to look non threatening. Oh, don't yell. That might be deemed aggressive, depending on how your parents kind of coach you in the Black experience.
Yeah. I it wasn't really my parents, but it would always be like other people that would be like, "Oh, she don't listen. Oh, yeah, I need to get her. She don't listen." But I really wasn't doing anything. I was just being a autistic child. They just didn't know I was autistic. And, as a millennial back then, there was no Black autism representation. And then my parents listening to the older generation before them, I think that's the silent generation. I'm a millennial. They're from the generation of, we didn't have all that autism stuff back in our day. Yes, you did.
Yeah, you just didn't have the words yet.
Yeah, the words and the knowledge.
Uh-huh. No, I definitely agree with that, right? I feel like ADHD is one of those behavioral more tuned ones. So it's kind of like I remember I would be in class and wiggling, and I hated shoes. That was my autism. I don't know why anybody didn't think about why she don't like shoes, why she always barefoot, why she don't like socks. But those were things that I would get in trouble for, right? So I can definitely empathize, sympathize, all the things with you in the sense of a lot of us are seen more as behavioral challenges rather than, oh, maybe there's a reason these things are happening.
Right, exactly. And me, like, I'm still a toe walker, and shoes are not comfortable when you're a toe walker. And people don't understand those types of things. So for a lot of Black children, even within our own community, it's not a comfortable conversation, but we're punished when we need support.
Yes. Don't even get me started on punishment.
Yeah, like, we can go there.
Like the amount of times I got in trouble for stuff that I'm just like, but I genuinely just had a mental breakdown. Clean my room, there's too many steps. But at that time, I could not say that. As we're growing
Right.
up and we're young, we're not like, oh, there's too many steps in this. I need like body doubling or let me do one part at a time. We're very much just like, clean my room.
Yeah,
And then we get
it
fatigue.
is hard. It is hard. And like an example of that also for me is just like self-care. Like there are so many steps to showering and I'm a germaphobe, so like I have to get in the shower. Or it just drives me completely out of my mind. But there are a lot people who don't have like sensory issues don't understand that there are a lot of steps to showering and then the sensory issues like if the water is loud, if the temperature of the water isn't right and all the different sensory things going on in the bathroom, and people don't understand that. And then getting off, drying off, moisturizing. If you exfoliate, it's a lot of steps. Because I remember somebody on TikTok was like, "Oh, autistic people don't like taking showers; they dirty." No, that's not it. It's just a lot of steps, and it takes a lot out of you. Like after I take a shower and moisturize, I gotta sit down for a little while and just do nothing.
Right. I was sitting here like, oh, you get me comfortable because I could tell you all these stories. But it's definitely that, right? I was thinking as you were saying that I don't like taking showers with the lights on. And these are things that didn't just start happening in our adulthood. I wonder what it looks like for a lot of misdiagnosed or late diagnosed Black women who are neurodivergent, who maybe when they were younger did take like dark showers, or maybe they hurry up and put their clothes on because they don't like the feeling of going from hot to cold immediately. Or, oh, I don't like cold floor. Now I'm super cold. Okay, now I got to have slippers ready. It's a process to
Yeah,
have every
yeah, it is. And like for me, it's like, okay, I'm about to get up and get in the shower. Let me turn my AC off for a little while so I don't be too cold when I get in. Yeah, it's a lot because like honestly, sometimes after showering and then having to do another task, by the time you do all of that, you have no type of energy left to really do the things that you need to do. And people look at you like you crazy because they don't understand.
Yeah. But I mean, yes, we say mental health is like a silent stigma, but no, neurodiversity, neurodivergence, that's complete silence because it's like an invisible job. Um, we're always cognitively overwhelmed. We're always thinking about all the steps. We're always thinking about our sensory. Okay, I have to go with these people. Do I know all these people? Do I know the map for this?
Yeah.
I don't know this person. I don't have no map for them. But I'm gonna just sit there and look awkward, you know?
That's me. That's me. I don't like meeting new people and I don't like going places. Like whenever I go out, my dad is usually with me. I can't get a license. So I don't drive. So he takes me when I have to go to events or if I have somewhere to be. And like honestly, sometimes he has to speak for me. And people be like, "Oh, you're just coddling her and you're enabling her." But no, he's just really meeting my care needs.
Yeah. I've
It's
seen
okay having support needs. And, as an autistic adult, I'm blessed to still have somebody that will do that because I've been in situations before with other caregivers who are like, no, you're going to do it, or no, or if I'm overwhelmed or overstimulated, someone told me that that was just me bringing negative energy into their house. And I'm like, bitch, I'm overstimulated.
facts. Like, what do you mean negative energy? You're negative energy. You've been
Exactly.
saying that.
Like,
Oh
I'm
my
like, all
goodness.
right, look at your sage then. Leave me alone.
Right. No, I love that you brought this up because I don't think people understand enough about autism and the fact that, like, in either community, it's very much, it looks different for everybody. And then there is the autistic as an identity. It's a neurodevelopment disorder. It is not going anywhere. So there
Yeah.
are going to be the different support levels, right? There is that support level one where it's like, okay, I need a little bit of assistance, but I'm good. Then in the middle, right? And then the third. But for whatever reason, the word disability, when it comes to autism, either gets completely erased or it's doubled down on too much. What they don't understand is it looks different. Some are going to need the extra care assistance. Either way, it's still a disability. You can't erase it. I can't go into certain spaces if I'm overstimulated. That is a disability. I can't go to work if I feel a certain way. If I have tics the whole night, I'm not going.
Yes, and then
That's a
workplaces aren't like accommodating for autistic employees, and that's another thing that people don't understand.
disability. No, I agree. I think all the way up until my latest space of working, that was truly my challenge, not being understood as an autistic woman. Not only that, a Black autistic woman.
Right.
My first experience when I was an intern, I went and worked at a place that was known for their assessments and working with the neurodivergent community. And I was like, great, this is exciting. I get to learn more. I get to learn how to help. I get to do all these things. I went through workplace retaliation, and about 80% of it was because of my need for certain care, of my need for predictability. There was one day where somebody went into the office that I used and moved some of my things. To someone who is not autistic, that's probably not a big deal.
Oh
Oh,
no, when people
my
touch my
personal
stuff, I go
chest.
off. My dad be like, I know I live with my dad. My dad be like, I know better than to touch your stuff because he knows if I'ma know if you touched it.
Yes, it is. It makes your space feel uncomfortable, right? It's the safety and knowing where everything's at. So it's one of those things where autistic people, neurodivergent people, we're constantly in survival sometimes.
Yes, and also like people don't understand like we need predictability. So why are you touching the stuff on my desk? Why are you even over here? Get out of here.
Right,
So
right,
that's,
right. I'm
that's like
always like,
another thing. And I hate that sometimes people sometimes workplaces treat neurodivergent people's accommodations, like they're doing us a favor. You're not doing us a favor. This should just be like these are for us, these are basic human needs.
Right. Bare minimum. Bare minimum.
Yes, yes. As a licensed mental health counselor, where do you think the biggest gaps are in clinical education when it comes to recognizing neurodivergence, especially in Black women?
Well, there's so, well, first of all, let's start with, and I will always remember this research. I need to get back deeper in this research back to see if it's changed, but ADHD was first researched with four small white boys, young white boys. So that already left all the women misdiagnosed just from the beginning of research being white boys. And then you're adding on cultural biases, human, like so much research still needs to be done. That's why we're having such a boom in neurodiversity, right? But in school, this is what hurts me most. In school, they did not teach a lick about neurodiversity. All they gave us was the DSM-5. Now, if somebody else had another master's program with a class that was specifically on neurodiversity, sensory processing, rejection dysphoria, all these things that we do not learn after 2 years of school, or even if you got your doctorate in this space, there is no reason all of us are coming out of all these years and have to do so much learning when it comes to neurodiversity. So the gap
Right.
is the system that created this. They did not factor in what this was going to look like.
Yes, and you mentioned the DSM, and you often talk about looking beyond the DSM. What are some neurodivergent patterns that traditional assessments or clinicians commonly miss?
Yeah, so I got the privilege. So first of all, I am a nerd. I've been researching for a long time, but I got the privilege to kind of introduce my framework at my current practice, and
Wow.
they wanted to bring in assessments, and I was like, okay, we need to make it neuroaffirming. Just the moment they were like, we want to do this, I was like, y'all got to track before, because what's happening is most assessments do not ask about sensory. Why aren't you asking about sensory?
Right.
Almost every person's going to have a sensory challenge, whether it's trauma or neurodivergence. But there's a difference. I feel like also they don't ask about how long have you been feeling this. A lot of assessments are very much like right here, right now, what are you experiencing? You're not going to catch neurodivergence in the right now. You're going to catch it in the childhood.
Right,
So
right. And it's funny that you say that because for me, like I've always had anxiety and I always been overstimulated. But since it was the only way I ever known how to feel, I thought that's what life was just supposed to feel like until one day my doctor gave me a Xanax and I was like, hey, I feel kind of good. So,
yeah, yeah. Let me validate you even more to let you know you're not alone in this. I feel like
yeah.
that is my joy of being like the neurodiversity specialist, and just my niche is neurodiversity. So all my clients, we all just like stim together, play our games together and talk. It's just very authentic in that way. But this
Yeah.
is where all of them gets healed. They come in and they're like, I've been diagnosed with depression and anxiety my whole life. And I was like, that's just what the mask produces. And they look at me and I
Right.
look at them, right? So then we do a masking assessment where I'm able to ask, like, what are you hiding? What are you suppressing? Once we get done with that, they're like, oh, so you're telling me that I've had the wrong medication because I've been depression and anxiety when really this is ADHD and OCD. And yeah, because when you come into the world and you have a neurodiversity brain, right? You have a neurodivergent brain. These are neurodevelopment disorders. They're not going anywhere. They're not
Right.
going anywhere. So that means you learn how to shape and mold your brain in order to survive. But sometimes that survival is going to cost you your mental health. That mass is going to build up so hard that you're going to be burnt out. And now, yes, whenever you go to a psychiatrist, any provider, they're going to be like, I just feel really depressed and anxious.
Right.
Obviously, that's all you got because nobody has taught you about your own neurodivergence and there's not enough information. Like, I have a lot of pros and cons with social media, but gosh, I love that there's a neurodivergent space now where a lot of people can go and be like, I think, and then they're going to a doctor afterwards. I love that
Yeah,
now.
I love that too. And some people don't like that. Some people are like, "Oh, TikTok is so unhealthy. It's got everybody thinking that they're neurodivergent." Well, you know what? There are a lot of people who are neurodivergent. Like why I wasn't really on TikTok. I got on it like during the pandemic when I was bored but I got diagnosed like 4 years or 5 years before like I got on TikTok, but I was, even though I knew I was autistic, I still felt validated when I heard other people sharing their stories about the things that they have gone through and the things that they go through. And when I started sharing my story, people would tell me, "Oh my God, you just like explain the way I've been feeling." So,
Yeah.
like, I know some people don't like it and some people are against it. I remember reading an article about an autism mom, one of those problematic ones, and she was like basically saying how we're romanticizing autism and it's taking away from autistic children like her son who have high support needs. And I was just like, it just sounds like your content ain't popping like it used to be. So please stop.
You're like, so is it personal ego or true? Like your feel? Yeah, no, that's why I was like, there's pros and cons, right? I can empathize with both sides. I think people forget that it's not about justification, right?
Hmm.
Justification is always going to keep us separated. It's just kind of like everyone's looking for representation. Everyone's looking to be heard. So if we just focus on the feelings at hand, you're responsible for doing the rest. So if you listen to somebody and you're like, well, I don't like that, okay, move on. Nobody told you you had to share. And if you are going to share, it's not about attacking a person. Why not get curious? And that's why I kind of have like the Alchemist Lab and just the mad scientist. It's very much curiosity, like, oh, tell me more about that. Even if it's something that I don't understand or don't maybe like in my head.
That okay, like did you just saying that just goes perfectly into the next question. Your late identification journey inspired the creation of the Alchemist Lab. Can you tell us how your lived experience shaped your mission and the work you're doing today?
Yeah. Well, first, being misdiagnosed, like my whole upbringing, man, if y'all knew the rap sheet I had before I got to someone that was actually specialized in neurodiversity, right? But that alone shaped a lot of my life going in. And because I wish another gap, I know we talked about this earlier, but everybody please get your differential diagnosing training so you can tell the difference between PTSD and autism, because that is the reason Alchemist Lab exists. I had trauma, but that overshined my neurodevelopment. So here I
I
am.
agree. I can relate to that. I was misdiagnosed a lot and they first they were just like, oh, she's just, she's just an angry black woman, or they was like she's bipolar. They put me on lithium and lithium fucked up my body. I got my
Goals for
thyroid.
days. I'm like, yep.
Like my thyroid exploded. It stopped my cycle. I gained all this weight. So it was like all of this for a medication that didn't need to be on because before you even consider that a black woman could be autistic, you're calling me angry.
Amen. Yes, I couldn't have said it better. That's exactly it, though. That is exactly why the Alchemist Lab exists. It is for you. It is for the people that um, went to providers and was misdiagnosed. So I'm like, all right, I can only help with so many clients, but why are there so many clients coming to me upset about their previous providers? Because 9 times out of 10, when they land in my room, they searched for somebody that was well versed in neurodiversity.
Yeah.
So my goal is to create a space where not only am I doing research over like a bunch of my little special interests, my autism thrives in that research space. It's more so to give more clinicians support so they understand neurodiversity or even how to bring a special interest into the clinical space and still get it done, right? A lot of us learn all these theories and then we get a neurodivergent person in front of us and they're like, well, I love books and that's the only thing I want to think about. That's all I talk about. That's the only thing I really can experience life through. All right, how are you going to apply this theory we did all these years to them? That's the gap right there. Because
Yeah.
they're wanting to learn through examples, through metaphors, through things that they actually deeply connect with. Surface level, well, journal. I love a good journal, but do you know how to brain dump? Do you know how to integrate parts and use all the colors? That's a neurodivergence experience right there. We don't want to journal. We want to get really deep with our introception. We love a good introspective moment. So
Yeah,
that's
people
what
don't understand.
yeah.
People don't understand. And like me, I was actually diagnosed in a psychiatric hospital because everybody was like, oh, look at her. She's just so crazy. Because, I had kind of hit a wall, like years
Right.
of masking and, this is years of just not knowing why I was different. Because everybody knew that I was different. Um, so I got put into a psychiatric hospital. And so we weren't really like seeking an autism diagnosis. They just gave me like a full evaluation. And like autism was just one of the things they found because I have ADHD, I'm dyslexic. I got a whole bunch of delays and
Oh,
yeah, but you know, knowing it all at first, I wasn't okay with it, but I'm fine with it now because it helped me understand myself better.
the grief of it. If you want to have me back, we can talk about the grief of diagnosing too.
Oh,
Um,
you could come back. We're doing a, a Black Autism Acceptance Day, Black Girl Diagnosed Edition. You could come back and talk about it as much as you want.
okay, yes, yes, plug, yeah, everybody. Because I seen your post on LinkedIn and I was like, dang, I'm too late.
Well,
But
you can do the Black Girl Diagnosed episode of it, so you can still be a part of it.
yes, because no, the grief, you said something so important, right? The grief of diagnosing is you've lived your whole life masking something but didn't even know what you were masking, and then you're looking around and you're like, well, nobody else is talking about this, so you just go through this whole internal experience masking something that hasn't been labeled, thinking everybody must not deal with this. You don't have the words, and then you finally get everything and you're like, you telling me I've lived my whole life hating myself? You're telling me I've lived my whole life what? I can't even communicate what I'm going through.
Yes, and also I think something people don't understand is like the grief of losing people who fell in love with the masked version of you.
The girl, I lost so many friends over that. Like when we add the mask, right? But then we add the people pleasing that comes out of when you already know you're different. You're like, no, I just need some connection. At this point, like I'll do whatever it takes, especially when you're thinking of neurodivergence. Again, we already know something's different, especially if we're not diagnosed yet or not educated or don't have the representation that the internet can give us now to let us get into spaces and be like, okay, I resonated with this video. Can you, some of these things I can do. Now you got the words. But no, without all those words, you're just like, why can't I connect with others? I need
Yes,
to figure it out. And that mask becomes so deadly, so costly.
it is, and people also don't understand the physical dangers of masking. That shit is exhausting.
No facts. Facts. That is one of the assessments I created because yeah, we have embracing autism. I love that website. If anybody is watching this and you haven't been diagnosed for all the things, go on there. They have all the free assessments ever. But then don't stop there. Go to a provider that can help you get more work. Right? Don't just stop there. Um, but they don't have anything that really focuses on looking under the hood of masking. Like they
Right.
have the cat cue. The cat cue is really about social cues and how you learn to socialize and things like that. Then the other ones are really focused on just like autism traits and things like that. So I created
Yeah.
an assessment that really was like just asking you, like looking under the hood or imposter syndrome. Because a lot of us who are neurodivergent, we have so much imposter syndrome because people are congratulating and validating our mask. And we're like, I don't feel none of this.
Yeah, and I think that my bass was just like, you know, a nervous, overstimulated, anxious person who never knew what to say, never knew when it was my turn to speak, having a conversation with people. Like, I don't really have any social skills. Like, I'm fine when I'm like hosting or stuff, but if I have to go somewhere, I kind of just like stand there.
Okay, so let's think about this. I'm about to give you a little C because you're saying you don't have social skills, and we just spent 26 minutes yapping and having a blast, and you showed every single skill. So change the word to social navigation, and that's where
Yeah,
I go for you.
true. Because I always say that, but then
Yeah.
this is like I do fine when I do interviews and when I do keynote speeches and stuff like that, because I'm kind of like in my zone. And then I've done theater, so I know how to perform. So that's like kind of what got me through. Like even when I was an undiagnosed teenager, I was like, okay, well I can do theater because I don't know who I am, but I know who I want to make this character to be. So that helped me mask too, but in a healthy way.
Mm. Actually, again, I'm gonna give you something else because, like, I don't think you're understanding the beauty of what you've done. Um, I actually have a lot of my neurodivergent people, whenever they come in, if they're open to it, I send them the improv because it gets you used to how to emote and how to have emotions. And it actually teaches you social navigation through another character, right? So, what you did unknowingly, you survived. This is amazing how you survived because you were aware of, I'm not like, how do socializing is challenging. And then you put yourself in a space full of socializing and you're learning, and now you know how to do the things. Now, is it costly to the mask? Maybe, but you know how to socialize. That was a beautiful thing. Like basketball was mine. My teammates were my social cues. I learned so much through playing a sport.
Yeah, I'm not good at sport at all. I always tell people the thing that I'm actually gonna have a guest who's gonna talk about neurodivergence in sports really soon, and I'm really looking forward to that. But I always tell people that I feel like if I didn't have art as a tool growing up, I would be a terrible mess still at a low point right now. Because that was the first way I communicated. I communicated through art before I spoke verbally to people. I was always in some type of dance or drama program. So, and I do book illustration. So it's a way for me to cope. And I just feel like if I didn't have that coping mechanism, I would not have survived. Mm-mm.
I couldn't tell you how much I empathize with that. I feel like, yes, basketball was part of my survival and it brought me social navigation, but in the sense of art and just creative things, creativity is my pipeline. So I definitely understand. And I feel like a lot of neurodivergence can sit in the space of creativity as
Right.
our
Yes.
pipeline. I can't
Yes.
think of how many people then created their own characters or their own realities because of this very thing. I'm guilty of that as well. So
Yeah,
I think
and people are like, "Oh my God, you're such an amazing artist." I was like, "Well, I didn't really have any friends, so I had a lot of time to draw. I had a lot of practice."
yeah. And now look what you're doing though. I seen you and I came across your I was like, this is so beautiful. I was like, yes, we need more of this. I was
Thank
like, I'm so
you.
happy. Yeah. So I'm excited to see like what else you build. Because if you're saying you're this creative, I can only imagine.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I will be, after our summit, I will be taking a month off from doing advocacy and focusing more on creative projects. I'm always going to do advocacy, but I just know that we're doing a lot right now. And, you, as a neurodivergent person, you know when you enter in burnout. So
Yup.
I will be stepping back and taking a break.
Get
But
down.
if you could change one thing about the way mental health professionals approach neurodivergent clients, particularly Black women, what would that be and why?
We're not angry. We're
Oh,
not angry. We're
I say
suffering.
that all the time, and I have this one video, and it might be the way that I labeled it. I put the angry Black woman that's actually neurodivergent, and
Yeah.
I was just speaking about my story of how I got diagnosed, but it was a 60-second clip from a 1 hour interview, so people didn't have all of the context, and they was like, "Well, I am." Some people were like, "Well, I am angry." Okay, that's your situation. I'm
This
sorry
is
that you're going through that, but that's not my situation. So I
period.
ended up like limiting like comments on my video because a lot of people were taking it out of context. And even
Diagnosis.
like some people don't talk about the ableism that Black people show disabled Black people. A lot of Black people were leaving like ignorant comments. I know I have this one video where I'm like, a lot of Black autistic women are getting diagnosed, and I love that for us. And somebody was like, "You, why would you love that? There's really something wrong there." And I was like, "Well, no." They was like, "That's not normal." And I was like, "No, what's not normal is not knowing why you're different in life, not knowing why you can't communicate, not knowing like why everybody else seems to be able to function in the world, but you can't. That's not normal."
Ooh. Ah, he was born for this. Um, so think of it this way, right? Like, you are an agent of change. I've faced this. Okay, let me double back. Let me go back to go forward. All right, you said mental health professionals. I said we ain't angry. Now, the reason I started with that was because um, when we're masking for so long, think about the fumes. We're irritable because of the mask, right? By the time the mask starts shutting down, the production is anger, irritability, quickness, the sass. So I don't think anyone's pausing to ask why we're angry. They're
Right.
just taking that surface level and not looking at the pattern. And that's where I'm like, we got to recognize these patterns because if you actually meet somebody and become curious, you're going to realize they are masking, they're performing, they're mad at the performance. We're code switching, we're in spaces that we already know don't really look at us as an equal, even if it's not like a conscious thing. We have layers and layers of history that shows that. So going back to what you were saying, you're an agent of change in the Black community, and the Black community does not have a good mental health stigma. So I understand this fight you're fighting. Take your
Thank you.
grace. Take your
And one comment that really disappointed me was from a Black man on YouTube. He was like, "Oh, look at y'all Black women. Y'all learn the word autistic and y'all haven't stopped using it. And guess what, nigga? We ain't gonna stop using it."
I've heard, yeah. And that's it, right? We got to keep these conversations going because even though you're getting hit with these negative comments, and again, protect your space. You are creating dialogue and you are showing, even if they're not ready to have these conversations yet, you're poking on people's shame. You're poking on people's guilt. You're poking on people's mask. And I don't know your faith. I believe in God, but I'm not like specific to a religion. But something that sits with me is that God is going to put us in spaces that don't want us there.
Yeah.
So it sounds like you're in a lot of spaces to create real change, even if the change isn't something you see. You're planting a seed, and sometimes that's enough. And that's something that I take as a therapist because we don't always hear the story. We don't always see the positive. Sometimes we work on something one session, then they come back and like 3 months later, they're like, oh yeah, I remember like 2 months ago where, and I'm like, this whole time I was like, dang, I'm failing. Like they haven't brought it up. Right. So we sit often in the space of uncertainty. So something that I always do is kind of be like, God, just let me be an agent of change. Just
Right.
whatever seed you want me to plant, like let me do it because that is enough. And then I trust in you so much that you're gonna do the rest. And it kind of gives me that ability to stand in times where I'll get clients across me that don't like black people. And I've been told, like, you too young. I've never worked with a black person. Like I have bite, like, and at first I'm like,
Oh, I've been
oh,
the I've experienced I come from an activist family, so I've
yeah.
experienced racism my entire life. I did a protest when I was 6 years old and I got a death threat from the KKK. So that's why like these internet trolls, I'm like, I can handle y'all.
But no, I in those moments when I gotta remind myself I am a licensed mental health professional, and there's a way to tell them or get to know them or just dismantle. And it's crazy because all the ones that started that way, they end up staying with me longer. And I was like, God, what are you doing? You making me come in here and every day I gotta. And at first I was just so angry. I was like, why are you sending me these people that? So I just kept praying on it. But the conversations became healthy, right? It turned into, okay, let me put my biases aside. Why don't you like us? And then I reminded myself, like, oh, wait, I'm a middle class black woman. Shout out to my parents. I don't talk like the black stereotype, right? I don't. So now I can be an agent of change in spaces that are already going to hear what black sounds like, see what black sounds
Yeah,
like.
people used to tell me that I talk like a white girl.
Oh, I'm the Oreo growing up. I was like, how y'all get? Now as an adult, I'm like, don't you dare. But growing
Yeah,
up, I was
like it's just I'm just like, but I we've all encountered the white girls that use the black scent. So
like,
please leave me alone. What
right,
is talking white?
right,
There are
right.
plenty of black people who speak very well.
Yes. And that is the part though, right? We can get into spaces and disarm whatever biases they already have because of that. And I utilize that. Now I'm like something I was like shameful of because I was tired of getting my black card taken, even though I was the one watching BET at night. It's crazy. Have you seen Juice? But you taking my card? Like, like there was so many moments in high school that I very much was like, I don't take my card, but I'm the one that's really. Anyways,
Well,
uh,
people be like, people always trying to take your black card because I remember mentioning to somebody that I never saw the best man until like 3 years ago. And they was like, you never saw the best man and you a millennial? I was like, whatever. But
right? Like, how you want police? Police
But
black.
I was in the dance world, so I
Yeah.
really didn't have time to do a lot of TV and movies. We were at rehearsal to 8 p.m. When I got home, I was tired, and then on the weekends we were performing. So I'm sorry that I wasn't at the movies for every what's now considered like black cult classic. But anyway, to wrap things up, do you have any recent projects that you'd like to share?
Oh my gosh. I feel like my whole identity is a project. That was like the ADHD, right? But just no, just the easy things, right? Just check out my newsletter on LinkedIn and join into my YouTube. And those are the spaces you'll find me yapping about all the things. I love bringing pop culture into mental health. And if you stay longer, you actually get to learn a lot of frameworks that if you're a clinician, it helps you to help others, but also it'll help you, like any person. So just follow me on LinkedIn, follow me on YouTube. Those are my spaces.
Okay, so that's one of the questions. Well, where can they find you? What are the name of your socials and where people can find you at? Is it the Alchemist Lab?
Oh, Alchemist Lab TV on YouTube.
Mhm.
And then I have Instagram, but y'all, for real, I just don't like Instagram. I just can't give it. Instagram has become so performative that it just hurts my soul.
Yeah, I
Uh,
haven't been posting as much because one, I feel like it has too many features right now and it's really overstimulating. Two, sometimes I'm just not in the mood for people. And three, like within any space, there's the popular people, there's the cliquish, and so sometimes I just don't want to be bothered with that. But what do you want people to know and take away from this interview?
Black is beautiful, and there's many presentations and many versions of what it will look like. So if we can stop policing Black as a whole and stop policing diagnosis in the Black community, I hope you could hear both of our experiences and kind of just be like, okay, if I've had this experience, cool. All right, do something about it. Do you want to advocate about it? Do you want to write about it, journal about it? I don't know, but heal yourself, because Black people as a whole, we already have so many things against us, and mental health should be the last thing we should be fighting each other on,
Yeah, I
especially when
agree.
some of us aren't diagnosed.
Right, right. Well, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for sharing your powerful story and your wisdom with us today. And to our listeners, thank you for tuning in to Black Girl Diagnosed. Your presence and support means everything. And I just want everybody who's watching to know that we appreciate each and every one of you. And until next time, take care and keep advocating with love.